Hello everyone and welcome to Blue Spoon Veggie. In this video I'm going to share a lovely, low-cost, freezer-friendly recipe for lentil ragù, which you can turn into a variety of other delicious meals, all of them under £1 a portion. So let's get started. I've gathered together the ingredients for the ragù. I have red lentils, which cook really quickly and are packed with fibre and protein. You can use other types of lentils, but you'll need to increase the cooking time and the amount of stock. An onion, some garlic, stock powder. I always use this Marigold brand. Next, some flavour boosters, passata and tomato puree, veggie Worcester sauce, and a touch of brown sugar, which seems to have already dissolved. A few dried herbs and spices, paprika, dried parsley, mild chilli powder, coriander, and a bay leaf. Some red wine. Wine always makes things better, and it adds a lot of richness to this ragù. Let's begin cooking. Peel and chop up the onion. I'm going to chop this onion quite finely to give a nice texture to the finished ragù. Onion chopped, let's heat up a tablespoon of olive oil in a large pan, ready to fry the onion and garlic. Cook the onion on a medium heat for around 5 minutes, until it's softened and started to caramelise. Then grate or crush in the garlic cloves. If you like, you can add more garlic than this. I find this fine microplane grater much easier to clean than a garlic crusher, so I use it most of the time. Stir those in and cook gently for another couple of minutes. When your onion and garlic look like this, you're ready to add all the other ingredients. This is such an easy recipe. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Herbs and spices in, stir them through the onion and garlic. Do feel free to swap my spice suggestions for your own favourites. For example, dried oregano would taste nice in place of parsley. Next, all that tomatoey goodness. Sweet and slightly salty, tangy and savoury. You'll really taste all these flavours at the end. Red lentils next, our star ingredient, followed by the stock powder. Of course you can use a stock cube if you prefer, in which case dissolve it in the boiling water first. I'm adding the boiling water separately. Pour in the red wine and give it a careful stir. You don't want to slosh it all over your hob, like I do so frequently when I'm cooking. The final ingredients, plenty of pepper and just a little salt. After another stir for good measure, then simmer for 20 minutes, stirring 3 or 4 times so the lentils don't stick to the pan as they cook. And this is what you'll end up with. Soft, gently spiced tomatoey lentils, ready to serve right now with a baked potato or rice perhaps. Or you can let it cool and freeze it, either in portions or a whole batch. This is 2 batches ready for the freezer. And now another way to turn that lentil loveliness into a tasty dinner. Let's make a couple of cottage pies, topped with rich cheesy mash. Peel your potatoes. You want to use a floury variety suitable for making mash, like Maris Piper's. Then cut them up, ready to boil. It makes sense to cut the chunks quite small for the mash, so they'll cook quickly and we'll have our cottage pie sooner. There are lots of types of potatoes that mash well, for example Worcester, Desiree and Regal White. Boil for 15 to 20 minutes until they're nice and tender, then drain and collect together some butter, milk and grated cheese. Here's some I grated earlier. The cheese I'm using is this Cathedral City, which is frequently on offer and has a good strong flavour. Start the butter melting in the pan and then add in the milk, letting both warm through. While that warms, grind in some pepper and sprinkle in a little salt. Then stir those in. It's time now to mash the potatoes. I'm using my trusty potato ricer. Of course, use whichever mashing method you prefer. I will say though that ricers make perfectly smooth mash, which is nice. It's also quite good fun and very satisfying. Add in the grated cheese. And then stir all of that together into a delicious cheesy mash ready to top your cottage pies. Or you could just eat it and pretend there never were any cottage pies. Self-discipline engaged, I'll assemble the cottage pies now, removing the bay leaf first. I'm making 2, each will serve 2 people, so I'm going to bake one just now for dinner and freeze the other for another day. Divide the rich ragù between the dishes. Someone may tell me that this isn't really ragù, and of course they're right, because ragù is a meat sauce, and this is made from lentils. But what's in a name? The ways you can use this sauce are very similar to how ragù is used, so to me it makes sense to call it that. Next, top the pies with the cheesy mash. Just saying it makes me hungry. Once the mash is split fairly evenly between the 2 dishes, artfully texture the top with a fork. The rougher you make this, the more delicious little crunchy bits of potato there'll be, so a rustic look is a plus. If you'd rather bake one pie for 4 people just now, then obviously use one larger oven dish. I'm going to bake this little one for 30 minutes, but increase that to 40 minutes for a full-size pie. There we go, 2 pies, one ready for the freezer, the other to be baked at 200 degrees C, that's 390 degrees Fahrenheit, for 30 minutes, right now. Handily, these oven dishes have lids, but if they didn't, I would wrap this with foil and place in a freezer bag or wrap in cling film. When you want to bake the frozen cottage pie, defrost it overnight in the fridge, then bake in the same way. And here is the baked one, lovely and hot. Let's serve some up. It may look quite small, but it's certainly hearty and makes a veggie meal that's full of flavour and just 93p a portion. If you fancy serving the ragù as the original would most likely be, that is with pasta, then I have 2 ideas for you. The first is simply to do just that, cook up some dried pasta, like pappardelle if you're feeling fancy, and I am. Serving the ragù with a portion of good quality pasta will cost you less than £1 a portion. I like to add a little sprinkle of cheese, which will of course push up the cost slightly. And now another pasta option. This sauce makes a really tasty, and low cost of course, lasagna. For this we need to make up a quick cheese sauce. So I have my butter, flour and milk ready. I also have 2 kinds of cheese, mozzarella and some more cheddar, plus some dried lasagna sheets. Start the butter melting, then add in your plain flour. Stir those together into a smooth paste or roux. This is so easy, and once you feel confident making a white or cheese sauce, you can happily make so many recipes, and it's economical too. Stir in the milk. I normally add the milk in 3 or 4 goes. Keep stirring and the lumps will gradually cook out. If you're using a stainless steel pan, feel free to give it a whisk, but I don't want to damage my non-stick, so I'm trying to be patient. It's looking smoother now, and in goes the last of the milk. We're ready for a bit of pepper. I quite often don't add salt to cheese sauces, or just very little. A good stir, and then I'm going to add the cheese. This is the same strong cheddar I used in the cottage pie, but feel free to vary the cheeses you use in both recipes. Cheese sauce ready, and time for a bit of easy assembly now. Here are the ragù, cheese sauce, grated mozzarella and the lasagna sheets. Let me describe the first layer to you. A third of the sauce goes in. I'm making 1 large lasagna rather than 2 smaller ones this time, although of course you could split the ingredients across 2 smaller oven dishes. Next, sprinkle on a third of the grated mozzarella, then top with 2 lasagna sheets. Repeat that twice. I love this kind of mindful time in the kitchen. It lets your mental wheels slow down, but keep turning. For me, this is the perfect setting for random thoughts to flow through your mind while your hands are kept busy. Then top with the cheese sauce, spreading it all over the top of the lasagna. If you'd like to freeze the lasagna, then wrap it up at this point in foil, label, and pop in a freezer bag, then freeze. I would aim to use it within 3 months, defrosting overnight in the fridge before you bake it. I'm going to bake this one straight away at 200 degrees C, that's 390 Fahrenheit, for 40 minutes. This is the perfect winter comfort food, hearty but not heavy, and a welcome hit of pasta to make you feel all cosy. Even better is that this lasagna costs 96 pence per portion, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found these recipes useful and will give them a try yourself. See you again soon, and bye for now.